In the latest edition of the Cowboys Report, Tom Downey turns a meticulous and critical lens on George Pickens, evaluating the wide receiver's performance following what may have been his worst outing of the season against the Detroit Lions, while delving into the complex backdrop of his career and current role with the Dallas Cowboys, noting that while some of the fallout has been arguably overblown, the reporting from ESPN's Todd Archer and Jeremy Fowler provides a nuanced context that makes many of the discussions surrounding Pickens more relevant now than ever, illustrating the interplay between performance, maturity, and team dynamics. After a stretch of games that saw Pickens' status debated in the wake of the departure of CeeDee Lamb, fans and analysts alike have oscillated between questioning whether to retain him and acknowledging his undeniable talent. And while it is indisputable that Pickens struggled against the Lions, with moments in which he appeared disengaged, slow to track the ball, and arguably moody on the field, Downey emphasizes that these lapses should be weighed against the broader narrative of a player who, when given stability, accountability, and leadership, has produced exceptional results, highlighting that even in a subpar game for Pickens, the Cowboys' offense still managed to score 30 points, a testament to the collective effort and the underlying talent of the roster. The scrutiny intensified following Richard Sherman's critique on the Amazon Prime broadcast, wherein the veteran cornerback sharply contended that Pickens' apparent disengagement was emblematic of why he could not yet be considered among the NFL's elite receivers, asserting that a player of Pickens' potential cannot afford to disappear in any game regardless of circumstance, a point that Downey acknowledges has some merit, though he disputes Sherman's framing that Pickens' performance was the central story, arguing instead that the team's defensive deficiencies were a more consequential factor in the loss, and noting that Pickens' willingness to speak post-game, addressing Sherman's comments and candidly assessing his own performance, underscores both his accountability and professional maturity, as he reflected on contested plays, miscommunications, and calls that did not go the Cowboys' way, signaling a player attuned to the complexities of the game and aware of the weight of public perception. Behind the scenes, ESPN's reporting adds a critical layer, recounting Pickens' history in Pittsburgh, where despite breathtaking playmaking ability, his consistency was hampered by issues with maturity, timeliness, and adaptability, including habitual lateness to meetings, struggles with stability at the quarterback position, and the notorious Christmas game incident, all of which contributed to the Steelers' decision to part ways, though sources emphasized that he was beloved by teammates and that his challenges were often linked to factors outside his control, such as poor quarterback play and defensive scheming that limited opportunities, thereby contextualizing his frustrations and highlighting the importance of environmental fit in maximizing a player's potential. In Dallas, the presence of Dak Prescott has proven pivotal, with sources noting that Prescott's leadership style, a unique balance of accountability and strategic encouragement, has enabled Pickens to flourish both on and off the field, transforming previous volatility into productive energy, as evidenced by his career-best statistics of 78 receptions, over 1,000 receiving yards, and 8 touchdowns, illustrating the tangible impact of mentorship, culture, and consistency on performance, even as minor disciplinary issues, such as missing a team bus or early game benchings, surface intermittently, handled by the Cowboys with measured discretion and not allowed to overshadow his contributions. The discussion of Pickens' value has naturally evolved into considerations of compensation and contract strategy, with projections placing him in the $30 million per year range and potential 4-year deals approaching $125 million, alongside the likelihood of the franchise tag ensuring his retention, signaling that despite occasional lapses or social media missteps, including a brief deleted Instagram post responding to Sherman, Pickens' on-field production, market value, and alignment with team needs make him indispensable to the Cowboys' offensive strategy, while also raising broader questions about balancing elite talent with personal accountability, navigating public scrutiny, and fostering sustained performance in a high-pressure environment. Throughout this narrative, Downey underscores that a single poor performance should not define Pickens' trajectory, drawing comparisons to teammate CeeDee Lamb's resilience after a rough game and emphasizing that the right blend of competitive intensity. These traits are manageable when outweighed by consistent excellence, contrasting his current situation with cautionary tales like Antonio Brown, where off-field issues eclipsed on-field production, thereby reinforcing that the Cowboys' internal assessment weighs his discipline against his contributions, with Dak Prescott and coaching staff playing central roles in maintaining that equilibrium. The narrative also situates Pickens within the broader media ecosystem, where social media reactions, critical broadcasts, and public grading intersect with performance analysis, creating a landscape in which perception and reality are often in tension, and where understanding the interplay of talent, temperament, coaching, and environment is key to appreciating both Pickens' current achievements and the potential trajectory of his career. As the Cowboys continue their season, Downey invites fans to consider Pickens' multifaceted impact, to assess his value not just through isolated performances, but across a broader arc that includes adaptation to team culture, responsiveness to coaching, and capacity to thrive under elite quarterback leadership, while also weighing the financial, strategic, and cultural implications of retaining a player whose elite skills and occasional volatility require careful management, illustrating that in professional football, the story of a superstar in development is never linear, encompassing triumphs, setbacks, media narratives, and the constant balancing act between personal expression and professional responsibility, all of which converge in the case of George Pickens, whose career with the Dallas Cowboys has become a study in resilience, adaptation, and the transformative power of the right team environment, underscoring that while one bad game may attract headlines, it is the cumulative performance, leadership dynamics, and alignment with organizational culture that ultimately define both a player's legacy and his ongoing value to a franchise that has invested strategically in his talent, ensuring that as the season progresses, every catch, every route, and every interaction on and off the field will be scrutinized not merely as isolated events, but as part of the evolving narrative of an elite athlete navigating the complex, high-stakes ecosystem of professional football while striving to reconcile public expectation, personal standards, and team objectives, and as ESPN reporting, player testimonies, and Downey's analysis collectively demonstrate, this is a story still very much in motion, a cautionary tale and success story entwined, highlighting that George Pickens' journey is emblematic of the delicate balance between raw talent, emotional intelligence, leadership influence, and organizational support, and that the Cowboys' investment in him, both in terms of salary, strategic deployment, and cultural integration, reflects a recognition that while no player is without flaw, the right context can elevate potential into historic performance. A lesson that resonates not only for analysts and fans, but for the broader discourse on how elite athletes are developed, managed, and valued in the modern NFL.